was the idle. So that caught my attention, and the fact that it was running ethanol at that time, which I didn't know what was ethanol, what was methanol, so learning. That was one of the other reasons, because the fun of going to buy the ethanol, and then there's this girl rocking up, can I have a 25 liter? And it was the thrill of the car, to be honest. It was something that sets me apart from everybody else, knowing where I sit in. I'm in my own world. Okay, so I am Verona and I drive an Opel Monza CD16 valve. So I'm from Port Shepstone. I'm a farm girl and I moved to Durban for love. The reason I chose this car, like you said, you don't see it often, because it's rare and it's different. That's what I wanted. So what happened with this car was so it's in the family for about 10 years. First owner was my husband's brother. So Desigan's my husband and his brother owned it first. And then from him it went to Desigan. And then Desigan sold it to his cousin, and I'm talking 7-8 years ago. And then I was looking for something to play around with, just to have fun, and went up to Joburg, saw the car at his cousin's place, and I was like, this is it, this is what I want. Especially when he idled it, it was like, no, love at first sight. And then the smell of the ethanol, because it was running ethanol at that time, and his cousin didn't want to sell it. So eventually time went on and he changed his mind, and that's how I ended up with the car. So basically I brought my husband's ex back to the family. Yeah, he told me, he gave me strict instructions, says, you want this car, you manage it yourself. Whatever needs to be done, don't get me involved, but obviously he's there to support me. When I finished school, my first car was an Opel Corsa. It was a 1.4. And that's where all the fun started. And that's where I started learning about cars, because I had that car for 14 years. Straight from school, brought it to Durban as well with me, and until I decided I need to let it go. I didn't want to even let that car go. So that brand, basically Opel, was in my blood since. And because I knew a little bit of it inside and out, because obviously it used to break down and I used to fix it, I had the knowledge. And then I was looking for something and to have fun, to play around with, just, you know. And then when we got to Joburg, I saw the car, and because it was an Opel brand, I took to it then and there, and it was different. It wasn't something that you see every day on the road. Knowing that I'm going to be driving it, I'm going to be owning it, for me that was, I wanted. Okay, so this is a 1991 model, so it's as old as me. When I first got the car, it had a whole VG30 setup. And when I had it, brought it down to Durban, I raced it with the 7.5 GTI, just a friendly race with one of my friends. I didn't manage to race it and the car broke. We ran a bearing, and then I decided to bring it back to standard. So basically the car has a branch and exhaust. It has vernier gears, running pump fuel now as well, so no more ethanol. And yeah, that's been, yeah, billet cams 276. So it's very, very standard. And yeah, but it's actually doing a healthy 115 kilowatt compared to when I first had it. I miss the power, I really do, because it had a bit of oomph when I first got it. But I'm happy the way it is now because it's more reliable and I get to enjoy it without stressing. Okay, so the suspension, everything is standard. We haven't changed anything. It's been stock from the time I got it. So everything is OEM there.
Even springs?
Everything. The car is standard. As you see, standard.
Okay, so this, you basically brought it back to how it came out from factory.
Yes, that's correct.
And who is your mechanic?
There's a lovely gentleman and someone that's very committed to what he does. He puts his heart into it. He has a lot of passion for what he does, and that goes out to Shaveen Smith, Brain Tricks. I've got Kumaran from ElectroBoost, who's very knowledgeable, very patient with me, and he tunes the car. What I love about him is that he gives me advice as to what needs to be done, and yeah, so big shout out to Kumaran from ElectroBoost, Uncle. So he didn't tune it to a point where he's going to break it with the highest maximum power, and that's what I admire about him. He kept the car to its maximum, its capacity, in terms of when I'm driving it, it's reliable. It's not going to break when I drive down the road. So reliability comes from him, and that's what I appreciate. Down to Desi. Loud Addicts had an event, Mexico Street to Strip it was at that time, and I took it down just to have, yeah, that's the sticker there. I took it down just to have fun, just to see what it's like on the tracks, and my ultimate dream was to be on those tracks, be it Tarleton, be it Desi, be it a Tuba Tuba. I just wanted to be there and be a female on that strip to see what it's like. So at that time I had street tires, and I raced a BM. There was a BM, and also there was a Baki as well that I was racing just for fun. But because it was my first time, I didn't really enjoy it. Basically, traction was a problem for me because of the strip there compared to the street. It's too different, and I didn't enjoy it because of the traction. But when I actually got to feather the car and I got to control the car, I actually beat that BM. So for me, that was a wow.
Acquiring the car and going through the phases of breaking it and then figuring out what's next? Was it stressful? Something you enjoyed?
It was a nightmare because this car is so delicate that just not anybody can have their hands on it. And we're the type of people that, like, I don't trust anybody. That's how I am, and I want to give it to somebody that's going to do a proper good job, even if it takes them whole 6 months. So it was very stressful for us. Jess actually got to a point where he's like, see, I told you not to buy this car. I told you you're on your own. But I'm like, it's our car. It's my car, and it's what gives me that drive. So it was very costly as well for us, besides it being stressful, because to source out the parts for this car was also another challenge. I mean, you don't find these cars often, so we had to get parts from the likes of Joburg, create down the side, and then start from scratch. We had to get opinions from people that deal with Opels to hear what they have to say, and then make an informed decision based on that. So it is quite intricate in terms of bringing the car back to stock.
Right, this is OG. So it's real when they give you a CD16 valve wheel as a spare.
Back in the 90s, they never.
They made 5 wheels for every car.
Never took the cheap way out and put a steely. Crash, this is OG. You can drop it. That's the boot space right there. Apparently this is where the love story began. Not in the boot, the Civic picture. This is when it came out, obviously the car came out with a cassette player. And this is where you keep your cassettes there for safekeeping.
So everything is standard in the car, everything is OEM, from the car seats, everything is leather in there. There's aircon, but the aircon's not connected. Electric windows, that works. Dash is standard, everything.
This is how hazard buttons came out in the early 90s. This dash could squeak. Squeak like rubber.
So we had obviously, there was actually nobody in my family. It started off with me. And when my brother grew up, he's late now, Vishay Singh. When he finished school, it was him and I that used to go out and watch the drags and attend car shows in Port Shepstone, and that's how our passion grew and the thrill of driving and speed came about. Yes, I've recently built R32 Mark 1. I wanted something faster. I obviously couldn't race the Monza. I didn't want to do any more on the Monza. I wanted to keep it stock. Everybody said to me, what are you doing here at Desi with this car? When I raced it at that time, they're like, you're supposed to be parking this car in the garage. And eventually I said to myself, you know what? Make it a garage queen. Let's build that R32.
You think it's faster? The 32 is faster.
Way faster. I think when I jump out the car, I'm literally like this. So that rush is something else. So when I broke the Monza, right, they did tell me, like, why don't you turbocharge it, especially Shavin. It's like, why don't you turbocharge it? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And when I thought about exactly what I want for the Monza, and in terms of, like, I don't want to race it, I want it to be a garage queen, I want it to be my show and shine, I decided not to go turbo. So now that I have the 32, I want to learn the car, I want to race the car, I want to go down there, and I think if I want more power and I'm tired and I'm bored of the R32, I'm definitely going to turbocharge it. So I have a group of, not a group, I have a few friends, family friends are very close to me, and every time there's a car show or anything that needs to be done relating to my cars, they're ready to put their hands up, and that goes to St. John, Lloyd, Trevelyan, and ultimately my husband. He's been everything to me when it comes to my cars. Even up until this morning, he's like, the car needs to be washed. And he wakes up at like 7 o'clock and he washes the car so he can be ready. Favorite part about the car? The looks on the road. So when you're driving and you see this car, that's my favorite. People look, yeah, and they get shocked. They're like, what? What does she know about the car? I mean,
That's the first thing people ask.
Yeah, she's so young. What does she know? They don't know anything about these cars. But honestly, for me, it's the look of this car and the way it sounds. It's so distinct. Like you can just you just know it's there.